Alright, so para maiba naman, naisip ko tuwing mga pagkakataon na kaya kong mag-post ng charting session video on Thursdays, gagawin natin siyang Spybands Thursdays para din makita nyo how I analyze charts using other people's systems, tapos paano ko siya linilink sa support and resistance na gamit ko. Okay? So it will be different from yung typical na naked chart natin, 'di ba? Yung puro SR lang. We'll be adding a few indicators here and there para lang magkaroon naman tayo ng konting flavor, no? Now, let's kick off with AREIT. Etong AREIT, nagkaroon na tayo ng breakout previously dito sa B-bands natin, pero sa pagkakataon na to, hindi gaano nag-narrow yung Bollinger Bands prior to price breaking out, no? So the breakout was short-lived, it pushed back down, tapos it held beneath yung B-bands for a while before breaking out again here. Now, pagka-breakout niya, nauntog tayo dito sa previous area of support, now turned resistance at 35.85. Yes, I realize na hindi saktong-sakto, pero ganyan po talaga, no? Hindi natin pwedeng ipilit na porket may level tayo dyan, kailangan tick perfect yung market at sumusunod siya sa atin. Okay? Now, kung kunwari from here, we're able to break above and hold above 35.85, the next level of resistance will be at 37.55 na. Now, kung titingnan natin yung RSI, we were actually able to break above tong RSI wall na to, albeit briefly. Tapos ngayon, parang nagkokonso siya right around this area. So hopefully, ang ibig sabihin nito nagka-gather lang siya ng momentum and we can start pushing higher at least for a little bit more mula sa area na to. Now, kung kunwari kaya din niyang basagin tong 37.55, then obviously the next level of resistance is here na around 40 pesos, no? Now, what do you want to watch out for dito sa particular chart na to? Una, yung breakout niya medyo similar dito. Hindi nag-narrow yung B-bands prior to price breaking out. Hindi pa rin tayo sobrang nalalayo sa RSI 50. So if price dips further, perhaps filling yung gap na naiwan niya dito, baka yung RSI natin mag-fall na rin beneath 50. And that might lead to a cascade of price pushing lower, perhaps revisiting tong 32.4, which incidentally, nagko-coincide dito sa B-bands natin. Okay? So if you're planning to get into AREIT, you might want to wait a little bit, see how things shape up before you jump in rather than coming in where price currently is. Kasi parang nasa alanganin siya. Resistance is right there. Obvious naman na nauntog dyan . So do we really want to step in here na malapit na kung saan yung next na untog? Or do we want to see further structure develop before we jump in? I would argue na based on how I personally trade, mas gugustuhin ko na hintayin muna na magkaroon ng some type of confirmation bago ako pumasok. Next, silipin naman natin tong ALLDY, no? Now, tong ALLDY, kung papansinin nyo, meron na tong divergence . Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. Mapapansin nyo that price is printing lower lows here, pero printing higher lows dito sa RSI, no? Tapos, despite itong false breakout na nangyari before na hindi gaanong lumayo yung price, 'di ba? Yung price right now is consolidating very tightly. Tas kung mapapansin nyo, yung B-bands niya ang narrow na rin. 'Di ba? So based on all of this, what would I be personally looking for? For me, kung ititrade ko to based lang off of a potential bebemon, syempre una kailangan natin makakita ng precedence pattern. Perhaps some type of bebe, di ba? Yung duck's beak na sinasabi ni Senior Spyfrat. Or we want to see some type of pattern na familiar sa atin na mag-form sa area na to para lang meron tayong pwedeng pagsandalan sa trade idea natin. Remember, price moves indicators. Indicators do not move price. Now, kung kunwari from here, makakita tayo ng break to the upside nitong B-band, what I would be watching out for is kung kakayanin ba nating mabasag tong 28. Kung mabasag yung 28, then I think baka there's enough there to look for possible pullbacks to get into a potential trade dito sa ALLDY. And from there, see if we can push towards 33, followed by 0.395. Okay? But hindi ko siya mamadaliin where it currently is right now. Kasi kung papansinin natin, volume is very low. Tapos alam naman natin na hindi ganun kaganda ang sentiment ng market currently sa mga Villar na stocks. So you want to be very careful. Usually, yung mga ganitong types of trade entails a bit more risk. Kasi nga, it's not exactly the quote-unquote best na stock to trade, but the setup, parang papunta na doon. Parang nagiging present na siya. So ALLDY should be something that you could potentially watch out for moving forward. Next, tignan naman natin tong MBT. Now, tong MBT, kung papansin niyo, we have been going up and down dito sa B-bands. What this tells me, similar sa what I say when we look at Ichimoku, diba, is hindi natin maaasahan yung B-bands to give us a quote-unquote entry signal. Normally, we can wait for a break above ng B-bands or for price to consolidate around the B-bands. But in this particular instance, taas-baba lang siya. Diba? Parang nag-range siya dito sa area na to for quite some time. We broke out here, hit the next level of resistance dito sa 57.10, which was resistance here, support there, and resistance here, diba? So you can see how nagre-react yung price from these inflection points. Kung papansinin natin yung RSI, we also broke above this RSI wall, and where we currently are is parang nagko-consolidate siya above this wall. Okay, so that's something to watch out for. But kung titingnan natin yung chart mismo, 'di ba? Ignore the indicators, ignore the RSI, ignore the B-bands. What is it telling you? 'Di ba? It's telling you na number one, okay, sige, nag-try tayo mag-break sa range na to, pero doon sa wider range hindi pa tayo nababasag. Alam ko na hindi ko gaano maaasahan yung B-bands for this particular chart. So, I have to rely on other signs to show me whether or not I want to jump in dito sa Metrobank. And again, for me, okay, meron tayong konting good signals. Meron tayong low, high, higher low, higher high. So we could be starting to print some type of reversal, but we do need to take into consideration na yun nga, nakatrap pa rin tayo dito sa wider range. So how you view this will depend on how bullish you are sa MBT and sa market in general. Kung talagang gustong-gusto nyo yung MBT, then I'm sure na meron kayong value area na pwedeng pag-abangan sa kanya, and if price gets there, you can execute fearlessly. Pero until that happens, where we are right now seems to be somewhere between a rock and a hard place. It's not a very appealing area, and for me personally, I would rather wait and see how things develop before jumping in. Diba? After all, pwede rin natin kasing sabihin na hindi ba inverse head and shoulders pattern to and we broke out of it na. Yes, that's all true, no? But again, gusto ko lang magsabi na while that pattern is true and while yung higher low, higher high na diniscuss natin is also true, yung wider range na sinabi din natin, totoo din. Kung baga, you can look at a chart in various ways. Kaya sinabi ko na how you view this will depend on how bullish you are dito sa MBT. Next, let's talk about GTCAP. Now, tong GTCAP, medyo ganon din, no? Parang it's been going up and down yung B-bands. Yes, may mga pagkakataon that it respected it, like here, here, here. Pero marami tayong instances where price just goes up and down, up and down. Diba? Pagka ganito, again, I try to look at it from a bigger picture perspective. In the case of GTCAP, ang tanong lang naman is, naka-downtrend pa rin ba tayo? I would argue na sa bigger picture, oo. Pero nagkaroon tayo ng structural change. Kumbaga, 'di ba, nagprint tayo ng lower low dito. Ito yung last swing high. We actually broke above it here. And then we started pushing higher, breaking above the B bands, and then we've been holding above it for quite some time, 'di ba? For a few days now. So, what does this tell me? If price can pull back to the B bands, which incidentally is equivalent dito sa previous highs that we broke out of, tapos mag-hold tayo sa area na yan and we start pushing higher, then the possibility exists na baka yun na yung hinihintay natin na potential higher low showing us na, huy, parang may reversal na nagaganap pa. Whether bounce lang yon, whether short term, mid term, what have you, syempre hindi natin alam. People always like to think na kailangan alam natin. We don't. We don't need to know what the market's gonna do in order to be able to trade. We just need to be able to formulate plans, execute them, and then stick to them. Kapag sumunod yung market sa plano natin, good. If hindi, we're out. Now, RSI has also gone above 50 for GTCAP. So, kapag nag-pull back to dito, I am guessing it will still be slightly consolidating sa area na to. Meron pa rin tayong RSI wall na nag-exist from these highs kung saan tayo nauntog on the way up, no? So that's something to watch out for, and kaya ako rin nasabi na overall, sa bigger picture, it does look like pa-downtrend pa din tayo. Now, kung kunwari tuluyang gumanda yung index, baka mag-carry over na yung sentiment dito sa GTCAP kasi obvious naman na medyo laggard siya, di ba? And I know a lot of people like laggards kasi lalo na kung kunwari hindi ka nakapasok dun sa unang tulak, di ba? Hindi ka nakapasok sa mga bangko or what have you. So you want to look at laggards as potential trade positions for you moving forward para kung sakaling mag-carry over nga yung sentiment nakapasok ka ng quote-unquote maaga. Pero for me, again, it's better to wait for a setup to develop before jumping in rather than just jumping in because you're hoping na ito na yung next. Okay? Now, for me, again, nagkaroon tayo ng structural shift. I am watching GTCAP and that's why we're discussing it din dito sa Spybands Thursdays natin. Diba? Gusto ko naman yung mga sineshare ko, yung mga medyo napapansin ko rin, yung mga medyo pinupuna ko rin, no, na baka mag-set up ng maayos. So, if this sets up properly, makuha natin yung pullback na gusto ko, and we start printing a potential higher low, then this is something that I'll be watching carefully moving forward. And then finally, tignan po natin tong PX. Now, tong PX, we actually discussed this in one of our charting sessions from the other day, no? Tapos, na-post ko din to sa Twitter. Now, ang sabi ko noon is nagkaroon tayo ng parang inverse head and shoulders pattern dito. Tapos yun nga, we were about to break out from the B-bands na nagta-tighten na, di ba? Nagna-narrow na. Kung papansin niyo when you compare this to sa ibang pinag-usapan natin kaninang mga stocks, very tight na yung Spybands niya, di ba? Now, once we broke out of yung 2.64 na resistance, price has more or less been holding above it. Diba? And as long as it continues to hold above it, ito yung range na tinitignan natin from 2.64 hanggang 3.08, no? However, for me personally, I want to look for a quick pullback, diba, into this purple zone sana. Kung makuha natin yon, kung pupunahin nyo, yung purple zone natin ay nagko-coincide kung nasaan yung B-bands. Now, isn't that funny? Minsan hindi naman natin sinasadya, but different systems can have some type of confluence sa mga specific areas that you want to look out for. Diba? Now, kung kunwari magkaroon tayo ng pullback dyan, tapos magkaroon ng matching bullish price action, that would be very interesting para sa akin, no? I think from there, that could print your next higher low. Diba? Ito yung last low mo. Ito low, higher low. Baka yun yung next na higher low. And then from there, baka yun pala yung kailanganin natin na springboard para tuloy nang tumulak at puntahan yung 3.08. Diba? Yes, sabi ko na habang nasa loob tayo ng range na to, ito yung tinitingnan natin na area. But a pullback here, I don't think na it's that big of a deal na kailangan mag-cut na or kailangan magtakbuhan na or what have you. Okay? Now, kung meron na kayong hawak nitong PX, you want to make sure that you trail your stops accordingly at sundan nyo lang yung mga plano ninyo. Huwag maging greedy, huwag maging madali. Kung mahit yung trail stop, labas na. Kung mahit yung target, either slice or either get out na. Your choice. Now, kung pupunahin natin ang RSI nito, we actually broke above itong RSI wall din dito. It's a very small breakout, but we did, no? Tapos, we've been holding above RSI 50 as well. All good signs, but again, for me, personally, I would want to see a pullback sana, diba? Or, kung talaga ayaw niya mag-pullback, perhaps a slightly longer consolidation period before deciding whether or not na, uy, parang interesting na to ulit baka kailangan magdagdag or baka pwede nang pumasok or what have you. Okay? Now guys, if you haven't seen, okay, bago lang tayo umalis, no? If you haven't seen yung technical indicator ranking video natin, I've put a link to that video somewhere on the lower left-hand side of your screen. Be sure to check it out kasi we talk about a lot of technical indicators there, no? And as always, guys, good luck in all your trades. GT, over and out.